What's going on, everybody? And welcome to another episode of The Crew Review Show. And today we are taking a look at a lovely film. At least that's what Rex keeps telling me. Blade Runner. I'm DJ, that's Rex, and we are joined by Jordy. What's up, Jordy?
What's up?
All right, let's get into this, boys. Blade Runner.
So, I don't know how you feel about this movie, but I consider this movie pure genius. Okay? This movie is one of those that they say that it's up for interpretation, right? That is an understatement if I can talk about any movie specifically. So, I love this movie so much. I even saw it at the Museum of Modern Art. I better have the pinky up for that one. But yeah. But, you know, this movie, what I like about this movie is the fact that it makes me question so many things. What's right? What's wrong? Hell, what is reality at this point? But I'll get into that later. I feel like I went on a tangent.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to have a first impression of this. It has taken me 2 attempts to watch this film. First one was with you, Jordy. I'm not sure you remember that.
That was a while ago.
It was,
that was a really long time ago.
Yeah, before the fucking years was in teens.
Yeah.
Damn. I still in my teens. Was old as dirt.
And then I just recently, and by recent I mean last night, watched it with Rex, and it's a movie.
Oh my god!
Wow, that did not go where I thought that was going
to go. Let's talk about the good. I feel I should go to Jordy and then myself before I get to you.
Yeah,
because you're gonna go on a ramble-thon. So, Jordy,
all right,
what's good?
All right, for this movie, I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard of the movie when I was younger, and I heard Blade Runner, and I literally thought of somebody running with a blade. Movie has a lot less action than you think it does from the title. But the story is good. The story is good. I actually didn't have a problem with the way the dialogue rolled out. I felt that there wasn't a lot of wasted dialogue, which a lot of movies do, especially when they hit that 2-hour plus range. Of course, depending on which version of the movie you watch, but we'll get on that later. But as far as the good about this movie, my favorite thing about the movie is the attention to detail, because you had moments in the movie like after Deckard gets into a fight with one of the replicants, they cut to later being at his apartment and he drinks a shot, and after he drinks a shot and puts it down, they made sure to have the camera at an angle so you see the blood from his mouth from the fight go back into the alcohol. Which I thought was attention to detail that they don't even bother with today. Half the time, you watch a Pierce Brosnan Bond movie and it's just, what the fuck is going on in that?
Well, the fucking, actually.
And you had attention not just to the physical detail, but to the psychological aspect of it, in the sense where when Rory tells one of the other replicants that, one of the members of their crew died, and he makes this sad face, and the sad face just looks like overdone and childish. But then you think about that they only have a 4-year lifespan, and you're literally watching a 4-year-old get sad because somebody died. And putting that mentality into the character, I thought that was all good, because it's like you're not going to have this person react the way an adult would react when they're sad or anything like that.
Yeah, you're absolutely
right. Those are things I loved about that. There's just a lot of detail in it.
Okay, I would say I had a couple good things about the film. I thought the original score was good. I'm sorry, I did. Jordy you were like, oh god, it sounds like pretentious sci-fi music. Well, I thought it was pretty good because one of my favorite action films growing up was Lethal Weapon. And, for all those of you who like Lethal Weapon, know every time they get to that sad exposition, that music they played, it kind of reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah, with the saxophone and all
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Oh.
The other thing is...
Oh, I love the 80s.
The other thing is, there is a quote from one of the characters, Roy, in which is, since he's a replicant and he's getting ready to die, it's his last quote, and it's very memorable. And in fact, here's the text. The other thing I like was, and it has actually nothing to do with the film, was you. We're watching the film, and there's a character who's speaking Chinese. So Rex goes and says, "I'm gonna put the subtitles on so we can see what he says." So he puts the subtitles on, and all the subtitles says is "speaking in Chinese." Like, well, that's fucking enlightening.
Every other movie, if you put the subtitles on, it generally translates. Even The Mummy generally translates.
Look, The Mummy did not translate to Chinese.
But
let's not forget the speaking gibberish. That is The Mummy's translation of Mandarin.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, Rex, what's good?
All right. So, the acting from all was amazing. The fact that there are aspects, like you were saying, about questions we still have today that are relevant, especially things that are going to be coming up in the future as technology progresses and we start getting androids and things like that. What rights do they have? What what is consciousness? What is, how do we determine what rights they have, what rights they don't have? Can we just kill them indiscriminately? Hell, Deckard, like he said, is a Blade Runner. So he can literally kill indiscriminately as long as he believes that person is a replicant, not a Republican.
A little background. When I first went to watch this film with him, this is on the cusp where before I needed these to actually, read text during a film. And as it's going through the text in the beginning, I swear to you, when it said replicant, I'm reading it out loud. I'm like, Republican. And then he, and another friend was just like, what?
Fun fact for you guys.
True fact.
But what if Deckard kills a person by accident? He allegedly has never done it. Well, he never says he
allegedly.
Did. But things like that haven't been mentioned. This movie made me question reality, man. And like you said on the soundtrack, this thing was nominated for a Golden Globe in 1983 for the soundtrack.
No shit.
Yup, absolutely. It was didn't win, but it was nominated.
Hey.
So that's saying something for you folks.
All right. That being said, Jordy, what's bad?
That was really hard to find. Really, really hard, and to the point where at this point I'm just gonna sound like a graphics whore because I had to choose something. So you had to choose like the other thing. I feel that certain things that they show, such as the machine Deckard uses to focus in on the photos, as well as a couple of other things, like when they show the machines in in like the cars and everything, all the screens, how they're still CRTs, because it is an old movie, but the movie is supposed to be representing the future from that time, and they're using stuff that looked futuristic back then. So it's more like it kind of breaks the illusion of something being futuristic in that sense, because you start to feel like it's not really that futuristic when you realize that buttons are this freaking big and everybody's looking at a green screen because all computers had like green text and shit back then.
Look, they worked with what the best they had.
And you know what? I give them credit. That's what I said. It's like the argument of the graphics whore. I think it breaks the illusion now because we're 2 years away from 2019, which is the year this takes place in, and we still got no flying cars.
Which brings me to my bad.
Look. But before you get to your bad, we don't got flying cars, but sex robots do exist.
So 2019, they're absolutely on pace for that.
They're almost there.
I'm looking for.
It's like them. It's like they sat there and it was like the hoverboard from Back to the Future. It's like, yo, we just got to do this shit so we could technically say we did it.
That being said, my bad on this. And it doesn't really have anything to do with the film, but so far, you guys are not the only ones I know that have seen Blade Runner, that love Blade Runner, and they all say the same thing. Oh, 2019's around the corner. Where's the flying cars? Let me tell you something. I don't trust some of you motherfuckers with regular cars. I'm going to trust you in the fucking sky? Get the fuck out of here.
You know what I'm still waiting for?
What?
The billboards like that, like in Blade Runner and Ghost in the Shell.
That'd be pretty cool. All right. What's bad?
All right. So just because I love this movie doesn't mean that it doesn't that it's flawless. Basically,
fair to say.
To me, there were moments where the pacing seemed a little off, where it seemed like the plot could have been rushed a little bit more than it actually was. And that is very key for a movie that's over 2 hours. You would think that they would speed it up when it needs to be sped up, and there were points where they could have been a little bit clearer for the general audience. Not saying that, to me, you can interpret this movie any which way, but there were things that they could have done that have made it a little bit more clear for you, not me, for you. I'm perfect. And I'm not a replicant.
We haven't done the test yet, so we don't know.
There's a turtle on the beach.
All right. Jordy, what's ugly?
All right. For ugly, I will clarify this. I'm not saying the soundtrack was bad. I didn't say it's bad.
Don't you dare talk bad about my soundtrack.
I'm not saying it's bad.
Nominated soundtrack.
It is. But it's definitely dated as fuck. Like, it does that 80s shit where it's like, okay, he shoots the stripper chick, and then they play what's very, very commonly played in anything involving New York and a detective, which is normally done on a saxophone.
Yeah, because
but they were like,
awesome.
It's 1982. I need to use a synthesizer. And that's really much. It's a sci-fi movie. We need to have a synthesizer. It was like Terminator 1. And then, to me, that felt a little trying too hard. But I think that's, again, the movie starting to become dated. But then there was also the typical saxophone. They did use an actual saxophone during the whole sex scene with the replicant and everything like that.
Yeah.
So, Ridley Scott predicting sex robots.
Future.
And then he was like, nah, this shit's gonna go down. We used a real saxophone for this one. And then speaking of that scene, is it just me, or did Harrison Ford get really rapey?
Allegedly. She did not say no.
Because he didn't tell her to.
Because he was really just like, Joe, say kiss me. She's like, what? By saying, can I go home? Oh my god. And then you know what else that really did kind of bother me, and I honestly just this is the one thing I will say that has nothing to do with being dated. When Roy is chasing down Deckard, and he starts howling like a wolf.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? Why is this happening?
He was hunting him.
That was just fucking weird.
He wanted to howl like
He is hungry like the wolf.
And I'm howling at the moon.
Like I could have done without that. Like I was watching that and I'm like, okay, now I don't. This is it could have been a moment that would have been like awesome, like in a survival horror. But then you had this motherfucker howling like an idiot the whole entire time, and it kind of I just got withdrawn from that, going like, that's not even fucking scary. Like him being like super strong and shit like that, and he's chasing you after he just broke 2 of your fingers and shit, and you're just like, fuck this, I'm out. Because he did the smart thing. He went, had 2 of his fingers broken, and was like, fuck this shit. He said he's gonna give me a few seconds, left. I'm gonna climb to the fucking roof. But like that, I would say as far as the uglies go, those are my uglies. And I will say this one is not an ugly, but I will say it is a crime. Why has nobody made a drone of the cop cars? Why? You have a drone of every other thing from science fiction. You have the Enterprise, you have X-Wings, you have the Millennium Falcon. There's no cop car drone. You buy the collector's edition of the movie on Blu-ray or DVD, and they give you the suitcase, and it has all this nice fancy shit, and they give you a little toy car. I know. They give you a little toy car, and nobody's bothered to actually make this like something that actually flies. Like, come on! Especially with the new movie coming out. Mm-hmm. That's
copyrighted, patent pending.
That's not fair. Do us geeks a favor. Somebody out there, somebody, make one of these drones, please. I would love to see that.
Okay. This might be short. The ugly.
Now, there's some uglies in this movie.
I didn't say you didn't have any uglies. I just said this might be short.
All right, so we'll keep it simple. 1, there's too many versions of this movie. I'm gonna say it right here first, folks. All right, we've got the theatrical release, we've got the director's cut, we've got the final cut, we've got the definitive cut. We've got
the dog edition.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact that they had to make a final cut version just means to show you how many that there actually were beforehand. They need to let you know this is the last one. We're not touching it again.
No, the final cut version. Remember, folks. Okay, this movie came out in 1988.
82.
The final cut version came out in 2007. We're talking over 20 years before they finally decided enough is enough. All right. So I'm kind of glad we kind of did this based on the final, Blade Runner, the final cut,
the definitive edition.
But other than that, the amount of versions is too damn high.
So that's your ugly. Might as well just stick with you. Final thoughts.
Oh, man. Okay. So this is definitely an out-horse movie. Wow, out-horse. I'm sure you felt it that way. This is definitely an art house movie. I think everyone should definitely see this. It's a cult classic for a reason, all right? To be honest, I wouldn't even call it a cult classic. I would call this movie one of those that you have to see and you must pay attention to. This movie is one of those you have to, turn off your cell phone, stay away from it.
No Minecraft. That's the
and just pay attention to the movie, because you're gonna miss a lot of things if you, there are key scenes where, you checking Facebook, you're gonna miss it. All right? So remember, turn off the lights, no cell phones, and enjoy this movie, man.
Jordy, final thoughts.
I agree.
No, okay. I Movie's tripping right along.
Movie is definitely worth watching. I mean, given if obviously, like I said, there's a few things that are dated given to what we're used to now, especially for any younger viewers, anybody who's going to be around 20 years old now, maybe even around 18 or so, even stretching, maybe even 22, a little bit older than that. There's certain things are going to be dated for people around that age. You're going to look at that and be like, how is that futuristic? But you got to remember, the movie's older than you by a lot. The movie's older than me by an okay amount, but like
that is Jordy doing math.
Yes,
a lot.
So,
that's a number.
Trust me, I'm an engineer. So it's worth the watch. Take those. You got to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt due to certain things like that. But it's definitely a good movie. I mean, especially with the fact that with this final cut that was released, that they actually went back to the original film, the actual physical film, to redo everything now, so that this version you're going to look at, you're going to see the way things were, camera angles were shot, and everything is going to look pretty up to date for a movie that's as old as it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, definitely go out and watch it. It's definitely worth having, especially now with the new film coming out.
Yes.
I hope Ryan Gosling does a good job, man.
He ate it serious.
Did you say Goslinger?
Did I say Ryan Gosling?
Ryan Gosling.
Whatever. Goslinger. He's a Blade Runner. He's got a gun. It makes sense.
Okay.
Go home. You're not drunk enough.
Okay.
Says you.
So, 2 attempts to see this film. And after hearing what both these gentlemen have had to say about it, this film is absolutely, positively, amazingly okay. Honestly, I mean, I didn't find any issues with the film. The film was okay. I mean, I wasn't blown away with it. But it's an art house film. It's open for interpretation. I interpreted it different from the both of you.
You interpreted it wrong.
That is your opinion.
There is no right or wrong answer, but you got it wrong.
But check it out. See what you think. And tell us what you think about the film in the comment section. But I got a better idea in the comment section. I was reading something involving this. Ooh. What do you guys think about the idea that Blade Runner and Alien are part of the same universe? Let us know what you think about it in the comment section. That has been our show today, folks. I want to thank you all for checking us out. Hit the like button, subscribe button, or how do you say it? Smash the subscribe button, and give us a comment on what you think we should review next. I've been DJ. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at DJ of Crew Review. This has been Rex. Where can people find you?
You guys can always find me at Rex Crew Review on the Instagram and Twitters.
We would tell you where to find Jordy, but he's probably going to be looking for some replicants. So, until then, see you next time. And don't forget to check out the show at Instagram and Twitter at The Crew Review Show. Take care.
Remember, he's looking for futuristic sex robots, okay?
Sure.
He's not looking for replicants.
You know, now that I think about it, the Blade Runners were nothing but glorified IT department guys with a gun. Oh my God, there's a future for you yet.
You know,
is that why he's getting insured?
But I will say though, there was a severe lack of blades in this movie.
A lot of running though.
Folks, remember, it's too bad she won't live. But then again, who does?